This is the human heart. Central to our physical body, our survival, revered by poets throughout history as the emotional center of our being. The place we instinctively touch when asked to point to ourselves. And now, what we have known intuitively is being understood scientifically. Researchers are unlocking a new science of the heart that could change everything we know about health and our interconnected nature. Coherence is a state of balance between heart, mind, and emotions, creating a favorable cascade of neural, hormonal, and biochemical events that benefit the entire body. But this phenomenon not only benefits us personally, it affects everything around us, emitting an electromagnetic field that can be measured up to 3 feet outside of the body. When you are in coherence, your heart resonates at the same frequency as the Earth's magnetic field. This frequency positively affects everything around you. When a group of people are in coherence together, this effect is magnified. Could communities synchronized in coherence lower violence, accelerate cooperation, and global harmony? This is the purpose of the Global Coherence Pulse. If we can measure the impact of thousands of people in coherence at the same time, it could lead to a breakthrough in understanding the full potential of the human heart. All you need to participate is your presence and your heart. To take it to the next level, join the research study by downloading the app and getting an HRV monitor to measure your personal coherence. The world needs it more than ever before. Each human heart is unique and magnificent by itself. But imagine what could be possible when we unify.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our Global Coherence Pulse for July 2026. Wow. Wow, what a time we're in right now. If you're new to the Global Coherence Pulse, if this is your first time or you've just been a few times, put your name in the chat and say that you're new so that the community here can welcome you. We've been doing the Global Coherence Pulse now for 6 years, every third Saturday of every month, as an opportunity for us to explore what does coherence mean in community, embodied in our response to what's happening in life. And we have, wonderful people coming and sharing uplifting ideas and practices, and musicians lifting our hearts, and we have this community feel that we can feel every time we come now. We've really built an island of coherence. So if you're new, welcome. Jennifer Hill, who's one of our hosts, sometimes she let us know, those of us that are on the team, like Claire, who's here. I saw so many beautiful people that I haven't seen in a long time are here. Ed is here. She was warning that the first couple of weeks of July was going to be a real doozy. Like if you were going to be tested, it was going to come, and it might even come in layers. And if you knew about it ahead of time, at least you could just be, kind of ready. Well, I know for me, that has been the case. I mean, layers of things. Like I have a family member in the hospital. I found out I have to move unexpectedly. I have an event that I'm hosting. Like all of these things are happening all at the same time. And I am so grateful. I am so grateful to be able to say that the practicing coherence and being in a field of coherence like the Global Coherence Pulse and the connection field and all of the communities that I'm with where we're choosing coherence has allowed me to stay not reacting, but responding to whatever is happening, and to have this state of joy that's not connected to outside circumstance. So I just want to say, I don't know if you've had something going on in the last couple of weeks, maybe put some ones in the chat and say, yeah, it's been there too for me. And then also kind of like reflect on how you've been able to show up for yourself in your life when things are happening, and just feel the field of this community holding you. Because the moment that I feel a little bit like tenuous in my capacity to just stay present, I just feel the field, and I feel all of you here. And so I'm overflowing with gratitude today. That's what I want to say. I'm overflowing with gratitude today. And I'm super excited about this Global Coherence Pulse that we're going to have with Scarlett, Max, and Manoz, my dear friend. I haven't seen him for a while. He hasn't been on a pulse in a while, and he's here. And I feel like today's a little bit of a kind of a sacred time. Besides that 2 weeks of kind of things could get really hairy, there's some other astrology called the Baobouts basket. And I just want to read what it says about it, because it's right now, the 15th through the 26th is this moment, and we can put some energy into it. But here's what this guy Baobat said about this moment, and he had other predictions that were really profound. So he knows something. Here it is. A splendid relaunch of civilization, a probable transformation towards a better humanity enriched by greater general well-being. Like, that's this moment right now. So we're going to add our energy from this pulse into that intention. And then there was one more sentence that I saw in the Gene Keys that I think is what I'm feeling and why I think that I'm able to ride through whatever. It's the limitless creative power of small groups bound together by big dreams. And I think today, with living economics and the edge of evolution, we're talking about being able to hold the big dreams that we feel of what's possible when we actually choose coherence and love. So I'm going to bring on Manoz first, and we'll use his musical presence as a way for us to now drop beyond this speaking language and be in our hearts and open to each other. And I, like Anders, your smile today is just like infectious for me. Servina, like Charles, like Scarlett, like I'm just so grateful. So let's see if Manoz is back. He was going to sneak out to go ask his work or something. Do we see him yet? Manoz G. Manoz is a world-renowned musician, Bonsai flute player. I think that he's like the embodiment of Krishna. He just goes around with his little flute and makes all kinds of joy. But I don't see him.
Can I just say, Teresa, that during the sound check, he was just playing like these little tiny snippets, here and there of the music. And I was instantly like lost in this other transformative space, just even from his like warm up or his sound check. So I'm so glad that he's here today.
We'll keep an eye out for him, but I'll just introduce Scarlett, and we can have a nice casual time today because we're just amongst friends, and this is a field of community. And I'm so excited to have Scarlett here today. She's actually taking time out of an event that she's doing to be with us and to talk about this living economics and the edge of evolution. And Scarlett she's a founder of Harmonic Legacy Institute. She is really a global thought leader. She's kind of one of those future human people, right? Like you hear her talk in the way that she holds things that we're dealing with now, but from a completely different frame. So I think she's one of those humans that's bringing some things back to us right now to do. And a dear friend, and I love her so much. And I'm really, really grateful that you're here today, and that we can keep talking about our shift of our relationship with the provision that's possible in our life. So
I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for saying all those kind and beautiful things, Teresa. It's just time for those of us who are here who have this real privilege and luxury of feeling something truer in the moment than what is really when we're seeing reflected to us in the systems. If that's where we're at, then there's some like iteration now that we have opportunity to do. And I don't think there's any short, like it's an infinite layer of expression of iteration that we could just play with. There's a lot of play that can be done. So I'm really, really excited to be here today and touch on these potent topics. Thank you for having me.
Let's see if Manoj has come. Otherwise, we could just take a moment to breathe together, and then if he's not, and I am going to put in the chat those sentences. There he is. Manoj, perfect timing. Perfect timing. All right. I'm going to bring Manoj on screen. Yeah, let's just take a moment to breathe together and to take in this beautiful man, Manoj Nua. As I said, world-renowned musician, but lives right in my backyard and is one of my best friends in the world. And he always brings I don't know, it's like this playfulness and this aliveness through his music that just always makes my heart happy. And I really was excited to share that with all of you today. That's your cue, Manoj. But you're muted. There you go.
Just a moment here.
Uh,
Oh, I'm so grateful. Thank you, Teresa. I'll always bring so much light in my heart when you invite me to be part of this beautiful gathering.
we've missed you, so I'm really glad that we can share you today.
Yeah, I've been traveling. I travel all the time. Sometimes I forget where I'm going, because I'm on the planes all the time. I just came back from Malaysia. I was in Malaysia, and from there I went to Nepal, and I'm home here now. So from the beautiful Santa Cruz, I'm gonna play some flute for you guys. Teresa, just tell me how long I can play.
How about 5 minutes?
Okay, 5 minutes. All right.
Thank you. Mm. Thank you, Manoj. Love you so much. Thank you.
I was moved to tears, had to enter deep prayer. Thank you, Nose. Okay, am I just diving in? I'm gonna dive in. Yeah, the astrology is neat, even if you don't follow astrology or believe in astrology or whatever. It's kind of like it's easier to drive a car on a road than it is through a forest, right? Because there's like a way made. It's like you move down a river in a boat because the water's moving. So it's like easier to get the boat to move if it's in the water. So astrology is like there's things moving all the time. And in ancient times, people used to pay attention to that a lot, and they didn't separate it from any other part of science at the time. They observed the cosmic natural systems, and I think in some ways more easily than we can now, rightfully saw an alignment of their place within those systems, and they were able to go like, oh, I see that's happening there. So it might be easier for me to get this boat in the water when the tide is high. It might be easier for me to have, a conversation about this thing when the stuff that's aligned with communications is the pathways open there. So I don't think it makes, I don't think it's really illogical. I think it's counterintuitive to societal systems that are the predominant systems in our global society. And that is part of what I'm speaking on today. Living economics and the edge of evolution. This is a broad title because really I could talk about anything underneath that. But what I want to talk about, not just a desire of mine, but it was really potently coming up like last night in my dreams, woke up thinking about it this morning, is money as the false gating principle. And I feel that money as the false gating principle is something for us to bring right on up into our awareness and have it, see it, name it. And then in our full sovereignty and agency, decide how we want to be and process and live and embody and act, decide and act from there. But with regard to the astrology, if you are into the astrology, I'm not an astrologer, so I don't know how to like appropriately speak to the astrology right now. But from what I've been told from people, what's going on right now has a lot to do with the upending of systems or the restructuring of systems. And actually, I think this particular one has to do more with like what's going to be set in place in the midst of the upendedness. So this window is the river for us to put the boat in the water for what we want to see come to pass in the future. So if that's over this arc of like a few days. So wherever you are in the world, if that feels aligned to you, if it doesn't, just let it roll. No sweat. You don't have to worry about it. If it does feel aligned to you, you could create within yourself some kind of an intention of what it is that you want to put into a boat to float on the river of new systems creation leading into the future. And just know that you have the support and alignment of the trees and the wind and the river and the cosmos, because all that clockwork has set up, I'm told, in a trine that will not happen, has not happened in our lifetimes, will not happen again in our lifetimes. And not only our lifetimes, many, 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 many lifetimes on other sides. So, let's put the boats in the river with awareness and intention. I want to just offer that for us today, for the time that we just happen to be meeting to have this conversation happening to. the subject of, I call it living economics because I began a long time ago to be taxed by, burdened by, find heaviness in our financial systems. And I lived in the finance world. I kind of cut my teeth on that career. I opened my mortgage business in my early 20s. I was on the board for finance at Washington State, and I taught at state and national levels continuing education around finance topics. I was steeped in it. And back then, I learned that the word mortgage, meant death grip. And I was like, who did that? That's terrible. Like that's horrific. And we've kind of plotted it in to the dream track. Like achieve the American dream, get yourself a house with a mortgage. Like sprint ahead and sign yourself up for a death grip, not just for you, but for your family. Um, and I'm not opposed to mortgages, but for myself, I mean, I was in the business. I had to learn how to reframe that from the inside out. Um, so this issue of living economics for me is the lens that says it's a principle that I would call whole wealth, that we are all abundance on this planet of all abundance in a cosmos of all abundance, and that anything that is reflecting less than that back to us is incomplete. It's not wrong. It's not fake. It's not false. It's not bad. It's just incomplete. It's just not the full picture. So these systems that we're participating with right now that are not an appropriate reflection of our value are incomplete. We won't leave it there today, okay? I'm going to move into some like practical action stuff, and I'm going to move the camera over because the sun's going like, I want to be in on the conversation. So here, how's that? I won't leave it at philosophical stuff today because I want to give us some like things that we can potentially do in practice. But I want to make it super clear that I am not like the teacher in this regard. Okay. I'm not like the person who has it all figured out and you're like the person who's going to take notes. Like, no, we came down and decided to incarnate at this time on the planet and recognize enough to actually be here together like this so that we could pioneer at the edge of evolution ourselves and go first through some doors, go first to cross some thresholds, be go firsters of stuff. So I'm one of the people who's willing to go first in areas where it's unclear or uncomfortable or whatever. I'm not the only one. And I hope there's lots of us on the call. I think there are. I think there's lots of us on the call today that are in that spot too. So everything that I'm going to share with you is stuff that I've seen, stuff that I've perceived, stuff that I've experienced, and some offerings of some stuff to try. But I would love for us to always hold everything in any time that I'm sharing anything in a way that it can be like a food for the field of coherence itself between us that then helps for us to each just be the fullest expression of ourselves, however that is, for however it resonates for you or however it doesn't. So money as the false gating principle. When we go back in time and think about what was the first time that humans ever created an intermediary between them for trade. The first time that instead of me being like, I have a sheep and I'd like to trade it for some food, and you're a fabric maker, so you need some wool or something. And it occurred one morning to someone like, it's probably not that efficient for me to like round these sheep up with me everywhere I go, try to make trades and buy my food or get the kind of food that they have that I don't grow at my house, whatever it was at that time. And therefore, there was this moment where a form of tokenization was born. And the first ever ones, let's see, pre-money exchange, yeah, commodity money, right? So we could begin to barter like that. But tokenization came into place, and that was around like roughly 3000 BC. It could have been earlier than that because there's a lot we don't know about these ancient civilizations, and it very well might have been that people decided to use things as intermediaries of trade. But when the first levels of tokens first come up for humans, and the very first time, there's never been any money, there's never been anything else, just me and you and whatever's true between us. And as we do this exchange, that's its own thing. And it further sustains me, it further sustains you, it makes other things possible. The first time that moved over to token, now this little intermediary was being invited to participate in life. It was like, hey, little token, do you want to be an extension of the authentic life that's in me? And I'm going to like pass you off to my friend. And then you get to play in this game called Life and Life More Abundantly. And the token was like, yeah, that sounds great. And so they did that for a while. And over time, that got flattened, let's say, got flattened. Because in the Mesopotamian era, they started taking or making ledgers then. Because once you start getting tokens, you realize tokens are powerful and it's nice to collect tokens. And so now there's a game that's at play that's like, I want to have more tokens. And so the ledger thing started happening where it was like amassing and depletion and amassing and depletion. Now there was quantity already existed with humans. So the idea of not having enough or having too much or some having more than others, that's here by nature, right? But that's why there's mountains and valleys. There's variance in amounts of things. But taking something that was a fully lived expression and then flattening it to merely a ledger, that part is a little bit now limiting on life. And it wouldn't be limiting on life if the only ways that we ever then used that ledger were to ask a two-dimensional question. If the only ways that we ever wanted to interact with that ledger were to say like, I just happen to be curious today about the metric that says which line is higher than the other. Because I am a kind of person who's curious about stacked things and I want to know how high this one stacks. If that was the way that we were interacting with it, and we didn't actually carry that over then to inform our life fullness or abundance, that this was supposed to be the extension of, then that wouldn't have been an issue. Probably, likely. But it's far too tempting. It's far too wide open, let's say, for power leverage. And so it becomes easily gamified for both good reasons and bad reasons. And I'm not saying, I want to be clear, I'm not saying that any of the stuff that I'm pointing out is for the sake of comparison. These are all thought exercises for us. I'm not saying that keeping ledgers is bad. It's not evil. It's not wrong. It's not lesser than. None of those things. Keeping ledgers is fantastic. It was a progress that they did it. And the power leveraging instrument that introduced, the opportunity for power leverage that introduced, is very exciting and gamifiable. And so then you have polarized energies that can come play. Things that are for, you could call it forces of good, or things that are for forces that don't want good outcomes. And both of those now get to utilize that system for leverage. sometimes we can see it evidenced in life that the people that are trying to do the good in the world are maybe not being as aggressive with stacking tokens as others, because they might be automatically kind of tucked up in this world of authentic expression of life. And if you're really in the world of authentic expression of life, then you might have to jump a bit to go into this like full track ledger system. And you might not find as much meaning in the full track ledger system, even if you have a lot of fun playing the leverage game with the money. So just to point that out, that we can see some disparity between the uses of that leverage point, that power leverage point in then tokens, coins, between the people who feel really in touch maybe with natural systems, or these days maybe we could call it the consciousness space, or just leave it at whoever's really feeling embodied with their connection to life, the cosmos, the earth, and those who are really sprinting forward on the money track. Hold this lightly with me, folks. Hold this lightly with me, because there's no judgment in it. There's no judgment in it. And I want to say that the miracle of some of the core things in this is that they are true regardless of how much money you have, and that they do not require that you get rid of money, and they do not require that you live in poverty, and they do not require that you have lots of money. These are principles that are true about life. So hold it lightly with me as I'm talking through these things, that there are some people that have lots of money, there's some people that don't. These are not judgments. We don't have to look around to people in our sphere of influence of like, well, they have a lot of money, so they must be out of touch with the earth. That is not what I'm saying. Just thinking back as a thought exercise to when there's a power leverage opportunity that happens on the planet for the first time, and what might be more aggressive in capitalizing on that power leverage opportunity. An energy that's already connected to all source and all abundance, that is constantly creating things that are thriving like that, or an energy that is maybe needing some other source. Thought exercise. But from there, in the history, it went on, and we got more and more removed. In the 1600s, the Bank of England opened, and this was when, things got real interesting. Because then this was post sovereignty states and things like this. And then in 1913, we had the Federal Reserve. These are the two big markers of the newer eras. And most of us in our lifetimes, this is not a framing that we get in school. Like we're not sitting in a classroom in an economics class and the history professor is going to tell us about what it's like to be a being who incarnated on Earth and then encountered a system that had been introduced a long time ago that had morphed over time, and that there are costs and benefits to that morphing, and that we have a sense of agency in that system. I would have loved it if somebody would have told me that growing up, but I was not told that. So I just want us to look at it. The thing about money as a gating principle is that it's not true. It's true on paper. It's true exercised where there is agreement to exercise it, but it's not innately true. And on the greater scheme of things, it doesn't have to be true at all. I was feeling in earlier to my deepest traumas, my deepest places that, like, no matter how much work I do on myself, I'll have breakthroughs, but then there will be these like echoes of hints that are almost come around to be like, but are you sure that you that you learned the lesson? Are you sure that you are secure in what you thought you know? Are you sure? You know, and when I get right down to them, for me, there are these underlying things of I don't want to be separate from love. And I look at the list, you know, that the Association of Psychology puts out, or I don't know if they put it out, but it's in their journals and stuff that is about uh, mistaken beliefs. If you read through like the top 20 mistaken beliefs that humans hold, it's very much like, I'm not enough, I'm not wanted, there's not enough for me. And even saying I'm not loved, there's still the fear, like what are you afraid of being true if you weren't wanted? What are you afraid of being true if you were not loved? What are you afraid of being true if you were not enough, right? And it always comes down to, if I get to the very closest part inside, to there being this severing from love. And so I think the invitation is for us to connect with the fact of that we are all abundance on a planet of all abundance in a cosmos of all abundance as a first principle, as a first principle of how we live and how we be, how we act and how we move and how we think. I'll give you an example of how this showed up in my own life. I was out here, there's this beautiful property. I was out here visiting. There's an outdoor shower where you can shower with the trees. And so for the second time I went back to shower with these trees, and it'd be like just tree drenched. Love the trees and sing with the trees and listen to the trees. And I had this thought. I should talk to my husband about getting myself and he and my daughter to a place like this where our life rhythm can be in communion with the trees. Just a thought, just a little thought. You know what the next 4 thoughts were that came in my head immediately following that thought? Well, I don't know how we would do that. We would have to sell the house. And selling the house right now in this market, it's not that kind of market. I don't even know if we could get, you know, the kind of value that make it worth it to sell the house. It was a terrible time to sell. We had a good rate on that house. I don't think we'd be able to get that interest rate back. Plus, we don't have a down payment for something that's in, you know, a wooded area or what. Like, and boy, did they come on fast. They came on faster than I literally, I was actually like comfortable with having the thought with the trees. I was liking that for a moment. And these other ones just came in like rapid fire. Like, and I was like, well, aren't you just a ready agenda? Aren't you a ready agenda to come gate all the, even my possibility thinking with trees? I can't even have a conversation with trees and dream for a moment about what might be without having all the things of the gate of money come and tell me how that is not possible. And the thing is that maybe those 4 things would be gating, but maybe they would not. If I was in a space to commune with the trees and I stayed in that space because it was true, because it was authentic, because it was true in me, it was true in the trees, and it was true in my husband, maybe. I wouldn't know that unless I had that conversation. But if I collapse it, if I allow a collapse, because of what I perceive to be already true, because I hold money right here as my senior official of gating mechanism of my life. And trust me, like friends, I've been at all the places of money. I've been at all the places of money. I made millions of dollars in my mortgage company. I've been on food stamps before. I lived in a single wide trailer when I was born. I had wonderful money at lots of different careers. I've lived a lot of lifetimes in one. And so when I'm saying these things, I'm not saying them to you in a way that says, you need to be aligned with my experience or my background for this principle. I'm giving you my examples. Having come from all of those places, I can say honestly, I have lived my life where money gets to be some god, not because I chase it. I'm the last person in the world that I don't make money more important than people or anything like that. I have made money my god because I've asked it permission for my abundance actions. I have only done the things that I knew to be true when there was enough money in the account. I have only done the things that I knew to be true when the ledger said it was okay. And I know that there are people that are not going to like this talk because it pokes at the gut. It is poked at my gut of everything that says that's irresponsible and all this other kind of stuff. And certainly wisdom and responsibility and upright living, we need to do that with ourselves and with each other. And we need to iterate that because we're also not great at being in community in a lot of ways. We're just learning some of those things. I know this pokes at all those little things because I have been poked at. And I can say, where I have practiced the past couple of years, acknowledging that and setting it aside for a moment, not ignoring it, not negating it, not trying to say, yeah, but, or you're not real or whatever. Just saying, yeah, I get it. You're not the full picture though. You don't get to run the machine. You're a good piece of information. Thank you. By the way, everything present in my field and in my life is all already enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. If I only have $50 in my bank account, you are all already enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Letting that start to come true in my being so that I learn it's not about the $50, so that I learn to be the embodiment of abundance first in myself and then in the field so that it can come back and be a part of this in the all abundance toroidal field, including the money. So the money can come back and be a part of my all abundance system in the toroidal field. And this is money has been collapsed to a two-dimensional thing. It has the capability to be a multidimensional thing. If we position ourselves as the holders of fields that can invite it to that kind of life, if we can let it participate in life with us as an appropriate, artful instrument of the outflow of what is already true. But if we hold it as a ceiling over ourselves and each other, or as the gating principle, it is a false gating principle, as the gating principle of what we may or may not do. My friends, I'm going to tell you, we will be the Achilles heel then to our own evolution. And we are not the ones who should be that. Like we are the ones who have the opportunity to rapidly iterate. So rather than be like, oh, what about all the humans on the planet who knew? Because they knew it in their hearts, their minds, their souls, their beings. They carried the blueprints when they were born onto this planet. What about them during that arc of evolution? They're like, oh, yeah, it was a weird thing. They all just decided they couldn't do stuff because of money. Hard no. That's a hard pass for me. I'm not participating in that timeline. So I'm like, no, I will take the step across the uncomfortable thresholds and play with this until it can move. Real quick thoughts, because I know I have just a few minutes here left, but the two-dimensional versus three-dimensional being thing is a thought exercise that I use with myself a lot, which is like, I like to pretend that I'm a 3D being who has a 2D friend or 2D friends on the 2D plane. And then I imagine myself empathetically as those 2D friends and how they might imagine me as their 3D friend. And you may have heard the thing about if there were 2D beings, they would be kind of like moving around on this flat surface. And if I had a ball that was able to go right through their field, I could just take it and like bring it up and down and through like any old place that I would want. And in their world, their reality would be that they would look in any direction and at any time not know what would happen. There could just be big things that were like this big or like that moved this way. So they appeared like this big or whatever. And they would be like, we don't know why, but these things like pop up in our world all the time. And it wouldn't have been those things. It would have been a singular thing. It would have been me doing it. The why I could have answered. And it wouldn't have had any, there would have been lots of other elements to it, right? The fact of it being all those things I just said, that I was holding it, that it was a ball, that I had my own intentions for it and all of this. Those truths don't cancel out or negate or lessen the two-dimensional truth of that, the way that those beings were experiencing their things popping up in their field. So to them, their reality, let's call it, is that there were like 17 things that presented themselves in their world. And I was like, oh, interesting, because from a three-dimensional standpoint, there was one. They were not wrong. They were not wrong, because you can say one was here, one was here, one was here. If you chart that on different times, it's true. They weren't separate balls, but differently occurring on a time horizon. So I like to think about that when I'm trying to do these thought exercises around really anything that has to do with how to bring it into a greater dimensionality, but particularly money right now, because there's so much that we're locked into, that we were born into, that we're practiced into, and that we reinforce every time that we make a choice, and almost all of our choices are attached to money. So when I buy food, when I decide to order out, when I hire a babysitter, when I decide to take that class online, when I pay a bill, when I decide to cancel that kind of internet because there was cheaper internet, when I decide to get the fancy iPhone, whatever it is, at all times that I am actually just trying to be a creative being that I was created to be, I'm interacting with money. And if I don't touch it, if I don't do anything with that and I just keep doing what I've always done, I leave it at that two-dimensional level. I leave it at my truth with money. How is my truth with money going to get to that three-dimensional? I'm really trying to get it three-dimensional, but in the comparison to that three-dimensional level, if I have it stuck, collapsed here, and I'm never going to do anything different about it. And right now, what we have in the kind of greater population of humanity is some people that have done fantastic work on money, like the book Happy Money, Lynn Twist's Soul of Money, really, 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 really amazing stuff that gets us primed for like, there could be more, there could be different vantage points. I can change my relationship with this, which yes, we have to do first. And a lot of the stuff that is going on with money, the draw to get people to participate is money. Here's how this unlocks for you so that you can get in the game with money, so that you can stop not having enough money and now you can have more money. So I'm going to teach you the 5 steps to this, or the codes to this, or the whatever, the breakthroughs. They're going to get you more money. And so maybe they're right, because maybe those things on the two-dimensional plane are the ways that you can do that ledger amassment of the money. But if we're interested in moving back into the greater dimensionality of money, then we've got to give it some iterative space for us to learn how to wrap our minds around what the dimension outside of our dimension might look like as it pertains to money. So what I like to do for myself is every time that I'm making a decision about money or where it's involved, I like to kind of set it aside for a moment and say, money, I would really love to be interacting with you right now, like as though we already have all this solved on the planet, and this is all sacred ground, and it's only going to be for good purposes, and you're already invited to life or whatever. But to be really honest with you, I'm new human at this. And so I'm going to set you to the side for a moment while I figure out some other true on the inside things for me. Because number one, for me to be free, and number one in this practice is to decide that money is not any longer welcome to be the gating principle in your life. And when you do that, it's like, okay, well, how do I do that if I'm like, I have to pay all these bills and I only have this much in the account at the end of the month? Well, have that conversation with money about how you would like it to be. Set it aside so that the money is until it is already enough. Because we've got to establish that if that abundance truth, you're going to try to claim it as true for you, but it doesn't get to be true for everything around you. It's not going to work when you try to put it into practice. It's a universal truth. That's why it's true. We are all abundance on a planet of all abundance. The cosmos is of all abundance. So all of the things are already enough. Just like there's enough trees in this field, there's enough oxygen on the planet, there's enough money in the bank account. We're already enough. Set it aside. Even if it hurts to say it because part of you doesn't believe it, just choose to try to believe. Make a choice to try to believe for yourself and give it that blessing. That opens up for you this gateway for your heart to get back into connection with the truth of your own abundance and the truth of what might be trying to show up in this moment for you authentically. And then you can say, what's really true for me about the thing? I was saying I wanted to go back to school, but I don't know, if there's really finances for that. That's a great question. We need to ask those questions all the time. Set aside the thing, say it's all already enough. Ask the inquiry about the things that are really true. And then once that is intact, and once you've inflated everything to that beautiful toroidal sphere of energy that is the all abundance at all those layers. Now, while you were doing that, the money that you set aside, the money issue that you set aside over here, the ledger, was busy doing what you told it that it was, which was being all enough. When you re-invite it back to the conversation, this does two things. It introduces illuminated pathways that you might not have seen before because you have a vantage point that maybe you wouldn't have had the opportunity to have. Just like when I was on in the tree shower, if I had stayed with the trees, I have vantage points and see opportunities illuminated that I wouldn't have had if I collapsed them too fast. And then the second thing is you actually open possibilities for potential in the field that wouldn't be opened otherwise. Because things become activated by the potential that we carry. So if I'm thinking this is a possibility and I hold it as a possibility in myself, well, now it's potentially a possibility outside myself. If I don't get to that point, it's never open, and we're keeping that ceiling, keeping that gate. So I just offer that as a quick practice. I know this was a lot of history and a lot of kind of, we're going to take it to this weird multi-dimensional space, but in the whole point is that if we as a group of people on the planet who believe in the power of heart coherence and field coherence, we believe in the planetary coherence, we believe in that we actually do have within us the capability to bring about architectures of systems for regeneratively thriving futures, and that can be a legacy that we leave for millennia. If we believe that, then let us do the simple work with probably the flimsiest layer of the system that is the most ingrained in the most places. The money is not arguing with us. The money probably wants to be invited to life and greater life. The money is probably sitting there going like, oh, thank God there's people that are looking my direction and are going to let me play in the big leagues, because it's sick of being flattened to these and used for these bad ends and always made to gate things. So a family gets a home and they get a mortgage, let's invite it to life and greater life, doing what we can do right where we're at and just iterating. No way to do it wrong because we're just iterating. But we have this potent opportunity to revolutionize our lives. And when I do that in my own life, then this thing that I made the God of my life, which was to say that however I'm doing here is a reflection of my value, my progress, my acceptability, my responsibility, and my capability. If I just say, Yeah, there's a way we're participating in that where all of that can still be true on paper, on a ledger, on a two-dimensional level. But before I engage there, I'm going to actually be connected with the all and then invite it to be an instrument. And when I do that, I collapse the false gate thing for the money, and I also get to bring all those other areas of me into alignment because they're working within this greater whole. So thank you so much for hanging with me through through this talk today, because I know that it's a lot. I hope that it resonated a little bit. I would love to hear reflections and any feedback or comments on it too, because it's new for me.
Thank you, Scarlett. I'm gonna, just to give us a chance just to take it all in, we'll just bring in Manose and have a chance to just to connect with our own sense of all abundance, of provision in our lives, and kind of just share that energy out onto the planet today as a blessing. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Scarlett. So much wisdom. So much wisdom. There's a word in the Sanskrit called Ananda. It's a beautiful, beautiful word. I love that word. Ananda. Let's say it together. Ananda. It's like having a unlimited amount of fund in your bank account. Ananda. Ananda. Ananda is ultimate bliss. Ananda. 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 Sat is a truth, ultimate truth. We're all seeking for ultimate truth, no? Sat Chitta. Chitta is consciousness. Ananda, Ananda. Ananda, Ananda. Together. Ananda, Ananda. Ananda, Ananda. Ananda, Ananda. Thank you. Ananda, Ananda. Oh, Ananda, Ananda. Ananda, Ananda. Ananda, Ananda. Ananda, Ananda. Keep going. Ananda, Ananda. Ananda, Ananda. Ananda, Ananda. Oh, Ananda, Ananda. Ananda, Ananda. Now you can feel the smile, no? You have to wiggle your head a little bit also, like Indian bubbling head. Ananda, Ananda. Ananda, Ananda. Ananda, Ananda. Ananda, Satchidananda. Ananda, Ananda. Ananda, Satchidananda. Ananda, Ananda. Ananda, Satchidananda. Ananda, Ananda. Ananda Satchidananda Ananda 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 Satchidananda Ananda 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 Satchidananda Ananda 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 Satchidananda Ananda 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 Oh Ananda 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 Satchidananda Ananda 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 Satchidananda Ananda Ananda. Together. Ananda Ananda. I can't hear you. A little bit louder. Ananda Ananda. I'm listening to you through my heart. Okay, I can listen. Ananda Ananda. Ananda Ananda. Now put both your palms, both your hands in your heart. Then sing this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ananda Ananda. Ananda Ananda. Ananda Ananda. Ananda Ananda.
That's one of my favorite songs with you. I love it when you're here and we can sing it together. So much fun. Doesn't that feel good? It like just brings that little joy right back. Scarlett, I could see you were like, yes, yes, yes.
I loved it. I
Yes,
loved it.
let's just write now our gratitude and this joy that we feel when we come together in community and we open up to new ideas without resisting, that we open up to that maybe we are all abundance in a world that's all abundant, in a universe that's all abundant. And the more that we open up to feeling connected with everything, maybe it changes the way we move and choose and flow and vote with our time and our energy and the resources that flow through our lives. So let's just like let it ripple out from here into the world. And Scarlett, I know there was a couple of questions in the chat, and Michael Krause has his hand up. I don't know if you want to take a few comments before you have to go.
Yeah, I would love to. Would love to. Do you want to start with Michael?
Yeah, let's just add Michael since he's here. You have to unmute, Michael.
Neat. Good to see you all. Really honored and really, really beautiful transmission. Without flattening the conversation, I want to share something that I've listened to last night, and the conversation was between Roger Waters from Pink Floyd and Tucker Carlson. And what Roger Waters shared, that is in Iran, it is illegal to make money on borrowing money or lending money. And so when we are talking about flattening money, there is still a belief. You talked about a belief system, but it's actually still the actuality there that money is being used as a token of exchange rather than a mechanism to make more. And I thought that was really, really interesting. I don't know whether it's true. Tucker Carlson didn't know that that was the case. But it's something to contemplate on, that perhaps some societies have still upheld the truth of the infinite abundance within the cosmos, and we just don't know about it, or we have forgotten. So thank you all for listening to me, and so good to see you all, and some dear old friends. I still have a recording of Manos that I will never forget, with his little daughter. So many blessings to all of you, Charles, Scarlett, Teresa. And those are all the people that show up on my screen. I don't know who else is here because I'm in my van. So many blessings to you, and the future is bright. Get your sunglasses.
Oh, I love that, Michael. Thank you so much for presencing that. It is a whole other layer. Like actually, I'm gonna do a series on this. I forgot until right now that Michael brought it up. I want to do a series on this for people who want to participate, and so I'm starting a WhatsApp thread for it, and maybe I can drop the link in here. I'll grab it off WhatsApp, called Living Economics. And Michael's totally right, because the uh, lending was always around, this is just like we borrow a cup of sugar from a neighbor, right? So like people always just kind of like, here, take this, whatever. But there was a time when it was very like it all kind of shuffles out in the end. It wasn't so like legislative back then. And there was definitely a time when things shifted specifically, and we gave away another layer of our sovereignty to this lending level. Because I studied this back in the earliest form of like loans that were being done from community. They weren't like officially banks. They were just like kind of like community stashes. They had the trust and fidelity that were totally consistent in those systems. It wasn't loaning for the amassment, that for the profit that could happen from having made the loan. It was loaning for the betterment of the community, is like kind of shifting around the things that were at play so that this ecosystem would be stronger. And then furthermore, it could change seasonally, because a farmer could say like, oh, I think I'm going to get that back to you in 3 seasons, but maybe they lose a season. Maybe that turns into 4 seasons. And so things that were adaptive, they were transferable. So if the grandfather passed, that farm went to the son, they would go back and kind of renegotiate the terms. There was all of this that happened around what was authentically true and happening in the rhythms and the cycles of natural life. And all of these things were an appropriate extension of what was true. And so that's the reversal, right? The lending is a whole other layer. We could talk a whole other hour about it. I'm so glad that Michael presenced it. And I will drop the link in there if anybody wants to hop in and be a part of those conversations in the future. Let me find it.
To the Edge of Evolution.
No, although I should talk
Oh.
about that one too. This one is for Living Economics.
Yeah, great.
Edge of Evolution, we have that too. We have a weekly meeting on Wednesdays. That is for those of us that are really wanting to show up with intention and presence and coherence right at the edge of evolution. It says Living Economics.
I'll put all the links in the email that comes out with the recording so that you guys all grab this, and I'll make sure, and we'll send some connection to Manos on his Facebook page, and information about the event we have coming up. Yeah,
I want to listen to all of Manos's stuff,
I
like
know.
today.
Yes. I don't know, Manos, do you want to do one more song to send us off today? Do you feel up to it? Something short and sweet?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. What a beautiful. Thank you, Michael. It's beautiful to see you. My God, it's been such a long time. You need to come down. He's he drove all the way from Vancouver. I remember down here, Santa Cruz. Remember he did Teresa, you were there. I think Marshall.
Yeah.
Marshall. They filmed Marshall as well.
And
Anyway.
you saw Marshall's here, right?
Yeah, Marshall. Miss you, my brother. I'm coming to Hawaii. I've been saying that for 10 years. Okay. All right. Let's see.
If you put your
sing.
cameras on, if everybody would put their cameras
But
on.
Manos, don't go when I'm coming down to Santa Cruz.
Oh, okay. Okay. Who's? Oh no, I won't. I won't. You just have to tell me, okay?
Okay.
Okay. I'd love to host you.
I have it on gallery view, so if you want to put your camera on so that we can kind of sing together, even though we'll have our things muted, it'd be nice to see there. See Marshall. Here
Yeah.
we go. Yeah, so
Manos
nice to
G,
see.
Hey, my brother.
you all come to Hawaii.
Yes,
All of you.
yes. Let's do it.
Let's all go to Hawaii. It's a good idea. Can we just? I'll sponsor.
Charter
Everyone,
a
I'm
flight.
gonna buy everyone a ticket.
Charter a flight. Let's do it.
Charter a plane.
Right.
Manos Airlines.
Okay. Sherry. Yes to Hawaii. All right, here we go.
Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka together samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free from suffering. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. 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 Together. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.
Lovely. So nice to be all together. Jarena, nice to see you. Everyone. Scarlett, any final thoughts from you as you head back into your event that you're at? And
Yeah, if you guys want to send blessings towards, or your own energies towards, this is a group that intentionally gathered here for this astrology and is holding this ceremony that is for the new systems, for the new earth, specifically holding the field. While a lot of other progressive agendas are moving things forward outwardly and linearly, we're doing this in a coherence field. So please connect if it's in your hearts to do so today. You could even maybe set up a candle or a few stones or a little ceremony space, whatever feels right to you. If that feels aligned, it would be really beautiful and powerful and magical. And the other thing I'll note is if we do want to make Hawaii happen, it's a really cool opportunity for us to play with this principle where we can say, oh yeah, money's going to probably be a part of that. I wonder if we could do the first principle of we are all abundance and allow all the things that are authentic expressions to come up first, in coherence first, in relationship first. And then when we feel all and good and full and abundant and we know exactly how the money's going to play, then invite it to come be a part of it. Just an idea.
Sounds wonderful. All right, everybody, how do we open up our lines so we can hear everybody's voices and say our blessings and love as we go out into the world today? Thank you again, Scarlett, and thank you, Manoj. Gonna hug you soon, my friend. All right.
So much love.
Thank you all.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Aloha.
you, Jeannie. Bye, Marshall. Bye, Michael.
Love you all.
Love you all. Have a
Bye,
beautiful,
love you
beautiful
guys.
day.
Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you, Scarlett.
Thank you so much. Love and bless.